Douglas Edwards here? Be honest. Hey, welcome to my video. If you're from my Instagram, I love you, and if you're not from my Instagram, love you all the same. Welcome to another Vogue Beauty Secrets video. Today, we're gonna be trying out Salma Hayek's beauty routine, and I'm also gonna do a 2-in-1 here because I'm gonna be giving you a first impressions of some of the products that I randomly bought in the drugstore the other day. So we're definitely gonna be multitasking, but before we start today's video, a few disclaimers as always. Number one, the point of these videos is not to purchase and use whatever products the celebrities themselves use. Honestly, it's more of just see what we have at home and see if we can kind of recreate a similar look. And the other point is honestly just to try other beauty routines, maybe see if I like them, see if I end up incorporating some of them in my own routine, and just kind of feeling out the vibe and seeing what the celebrities do. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then please keep watching. Okay, so Salma first started with eye patches and a face mask, and this has been sitting on my face for about 10 minutes, so I'm about ready to take it off now. And honestly, I really love this step, mostly because the face feels nice and refreshed afterwards. I'm gonna get a beautiful skin glow, so this is for sure a win, and I'm just tapping everything into my skin and down my neck as well. So now that that's done, I can move on. So first of all, she used like a rose water mist. I'm just using the facial spray by Mario Badescu. This certainly has rose water in it, so love. And I'm just gonna let that dry for about 20-30 seconds. And what I've noticed about Miss Salma is that she really hydrates the skin, and I honestly love that. I wish I did that as much as she did every time I did my makeup, but if I told you that was the truth, I'd be lying. So now she moves on to a second facial mist. I'm just gonna be using my regular toner that I use every day. Again, I'm gonna wait about half a minute to let that dry. And then she moves on to face cream. I'm using this very lightweight one by Kiehl's. And again, I'm just kind of applying it everywhere and on the neck as well. Now, she applies it up the neck, so that's what I'm doing too. You know what? My skin has never been this hydrated. Now it's on to eye cream, and I normally use the avocado eye treatment by Kiehl's, but I do use that one at night. Now this is a wrinkle reducing cream also by Kiehl's that I'm putting on right now just because it is a little lighter. So I'm just tapping it in. So far, I'm loving this routine. So now she moves on to lip balm. I'm just using regular Vaseline here. And then she said sometimes if she feels like her lips are too dry or if she feels like she has a lot of wrinkles, then she uses a lip treatment. So on top of the Vaseline, I'm just gonna apply a lip mask. This one is by ColourPop, and honestly, it's very affordable and very good. Now that I have kissable lips, I can move on to the rest of the face, and at this point she uses serum, and she just sort of applies it right around here, a little bit on her smile lines, a little bit around her eyes as well, and I'm just rubbing whatever I have left over on my neck and some on my hands too, and there we go. What do we think so far? Honestly, in person, I look really glowy and healthy, which is not the norm for me, I'll tell you that much. Now, up until this point, this has been my favorite Vogue Beauty Secrets video, but now I think that's gonna change because she applies foundation and she does it with her fingers, and if you've been on this channel, you know how I feel about that. I just hate applying foundation like it's sunscreen, but we're gonna do it today. And now comes a time where I'm gonna do a first impressions on one of the products I bought. So this is a skin tint by Essence, SPF 30, which I love, and it gives off a very natural look, which is not necessarily my vibe, but Miss Salma says that that's what she's going for. So today we're gonna go with that as well. I'm not too worried. The only thing I'm really worried about is that this could oxidize on me. I'm hoping it won't, but you know what? If it does, my toxic trait is that I believe I can fix almost anything. So we're just gonna risk it today, although I do have an event soon. So very bold of me, but whatever. Shook it up a little bit, and now I'm just like rubbing it in between my fingers. I don't like this, but okay, I'm just gonna slather it on, I guess. Ooh, this smells kind of nice, so that's promising. As far as I can see in my little mirror over there, the shade is not that bad, so honestly it's a win. And also, you know what, it does look pretty natural. So far, so good. I also hate doing this because it doesn't matter how careful you are, if you're slathering it on with your fingers, it always gets in your eyebrows. And then you have to remove it or look like an idiot. And you know what, I already look like an idiot about 90% of the time, so I really only have one option. Now, I'm not covering my dark circles too much because we're gonna be using a lot of concealer, so we're we're gonna fix that later. And I'm obviously gonna add some to the neck as well. This is certainly gonna get on my earrings, and if you see that, mind your business, okay? And there we go. Tell me what you think. Honestly, the shade is not bad on me, but it could still oxidize, so we're not completely out of the woods. So we're at our first concealer of the day, and she just uses it kind of everywhere. So I'm gonna do my dark circles and around my nose. I have some imperfections there, and around my mouth, and just kind of everywhere. This, by the way, is Fenty Beauty, and then naturally she just taps it in with her fingers. So normally if I have some really stubborn spots that I want to cover, I would let this concealer sit almost to the point of drying out completely, and sometimes that'll happen, and then if that happens, just re-wet it with a setting spray or something, and then I tap it in. That's how I feel like I get the most coverage. But she did not do that. She just kind of applied it multiple times until she was satisfied. She looked a little crazy at one point while she was doing her makeup, but as we all know, in the process of doing makeup, you're not supposed to judge until the very end, because sometimes it can look crazy while you're doing it. So that's the only thing, you know, giving me hope here. Okay, that's perfect. I love this Fenty concealer for the summertime, by the way, because it feels very light, but it still covers pretty much everything you need. And now she uses more concealer on just some dark spots that she might have. So for example, for me, that's around here, and maybe we'll do just a little bit more on the nose too. And this is where she lets that sit and dry while she uses contour. So here we go. I'm using a contour stick. She did too, but she, I believed, applied it directly to her face. I'm applying it on my finger first, and then I'm tapping it on my face, just because I feel like the blend is much smoother that way. And I certainly got all of my products in my hair, which was not the goal, but just a happy accident. She also used some contour on her eyes. Now that that's done and this concealer is almost dry, I'm just tapping it in. Okay, I'm just adding a little bit more contour on the eyes, and she kind of placed it above her crease a little bit, so kind of pretty high. That's good, I guess. Now we're moving on to the eyebrows, and she used the brow gel. I'm dipping the actual spoolie in my brow gel, and for me, I'm using the Got to Be Glued. It's my absolute favorite, and now I'm just running it through. So she created her brows to be pretty straight. I normally like to push mine up, but I'm gonna try and create them as straight as possible. She really didn't fill hers in, but hers are pretty thick, mine are not. So I'm just gonna wait a beat for this to dry and just lightly fill my brows in, just because I sort of want to achieve the same vibe that she had going on. But while I wait for that to dry, I'm just gonna move on to the eyes. So this, I think, is the worst part to me. She uses a black liner, applies it close to her lash line, which this I'm okay with so far. However, now she just takes her finger and smudges that with her finger as well, which to me very much gives I slept in my makeup and this is the morning after. And you know what? That's not my favorite look. And to answer your question, yes, I've done it a few times in high school, okay? Don't judge, I was very young. Okay, now she uses another shimmer pen on the lids. Now this is another one of those products that I just bought and that we're gonna test out. This one is by Trend It Up, and I'm just kind of applying it everywhere to my moving lid because that's what she did. And you know what? Honestly, this glides on pretty easily. It looks very pretty. Let me see how it looks if I smudge it out. You know what? Yeah, looks pretty cute. So far, both of the products I tried have been successful. I know something is coming. I know danger is afoot, okay? I feel it. Now she lines her eyes with a brown liner. I have obviously used brown liner before, but not this specific one. This one is new to my collection as well. I can't imagine it'll be bad because literally it's just a pencil. So, and you know what? So far it's gliding on pretty easily, and I'm just kind of aligning my entire eye because her eyes were quite sultry and beautiful. I don't normally do that on my eye shape because something about the way it looks, I don't know, it doesn't look right on me. So we'll see if that changes today. However, I am hopeful because guess what? I can just smudge it out. Yeah, still not a fan of this, but I'll live. I'm also putting some on the waterline. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I just look tired by doing this, but I'm gonna try and make it look kind of cute. So at this point, she says that she would normally stop, but she did glam it up a little bit for us. She used like this pretty coppery eyeshadow, and I'm gonna do that too. This is by ColourPop. It's really pretty and pigmented. And this is the actually only step that she does use a brush for, which I'm thankful because glitter on the fingers is forever. I'm just using another brush to slightly diffuse that. And there we go. So now she does apply like a lighter shade in the center of her lids, which I think is is a brilliant idea. Love that. Now it's time for mascara, and she kind of just applied this without looking. I'm not gonna chance it. I am certainly gonna look in the mirror and apply this, but you can do whatever you want to. And I just now discovered that this is a brown mascara, and I picked that up completely accidentally, so another happy accident here today. But it's fine, I'll obviously use it. I can't even really tell the difference anyway. So now she used this sort of peachy blush, and I'm gonna use one I've had forever. I got it as a gift and have no idea what it is at this point. The label has long rubbed off, so I am very sorry about that, but literally any peachy type of blush will do. And you know what? Now that I'm doing this, I'm noticing that this is very much like a summery look, so I appreciate that. So I used to look like Casper the Friendly Ghost. Now I look like if Casper went grunge. So at this point, she powders her face. I'm gonna do that, but I'm just kind of smoothing out any creasing that happened on my under eyes because I really don't want to set the creases in place. And with that, we move on to another product that I just bought. A mattifying compact powder by Essence. It definitely does its job. Now, the reason why I bought this is because in my everyday life, I use a banana powder that Essence makes, and it's so affordable and it's one of my favorite powders. So I was like, I have to try this compact powder as well. And she kind of just applied it on her under eyes, around her T-zone, and just generally kind of everywhere where you would get naturally oily. So for me, that's pretty much the center of my face. At this point, she uses more concealer. But since this is my first time trying out this skin tint, and since I don't know how it's gonna react with the new powder and my old concealer, I'm not willing to risk it because right now it doesn't look too bad. So we're gonna leave it as is. So now she used some bronzing powder and she just applied it where she applied the contour. And this one that I'm using is by NARS. And she also kind of applied it to the sides of her nose, which I like doing too because it gives the illusion that your nose is smaller. And I have a lot of real estate there, so I like that for me. And now we're moving on to a peachy powder blush. This is Total Betty by Trixie Cosmetics. And this is very pigmented, so I'm not gonna use a lot. Looks very pretty though. I need to stop. I need to let the blush go because I do tend to go overboard. So now she uses highlight on her cheeks. This is another new product alert. It's Baby Got Hollow Glow by Essence. The Essence stall was really pretty in my drugstore. What can I say? And this is like a gold hollow type of moment because what I noticed is that she didn't use like that typical super bright light highlighter. So I'm not gonna do that either. And also I would normally apply mine right here, but she applied hers quite lower. We're gonna do that, but I'm gonna start out with very little. So I'm just rubbing that on my finger, depositing some on the back of my hand, and then going in. Oh, wait a minute. This is really pretty. It is holographic. And I know that's in the name, but you never know with these products. In person, this is giving me like a rosy type of glow. Like when I turn my head to the side, I don't know if you can see that, probably not. This is so cute. I especially think it would be cute for the summertime, like beach vibes. Ah, okay, Essence, you're really impressing me today. Now it's time for lipstick, and she actually uses like a stain. So she just sort of starts off, I'm not gonna be able to talk during this part, even though I always try, but she starts to sort of line her lips, then applies it kind of everywhere, and then wipes it away pretty quickly. Another new product, again, it is by Essence. It's a Line and Stain Tattoo Lip Liner. I don't know how pigmented this is, so let's find out together. Ooh, you know what? This is not bad actually for one swipe, and I'm also trying to be quite fast with this step because I want to wipe it off as soon as possible. And I'm also applying it everywhere as well. I haven't used the stain in a minute. I used to love them. I don't know why I stopped. So this is what that looks like. And okay, I switched to a makeup wipe and I am kind of removing this, but also it's looking pretty good. It looks very natural actually. I mean, it's kind of just giving my lips, but better. I'm really actually surprised by what's happening here today. Not that I doubted Essence because I knew they had some cool products, but I also tried some that just weren't for me. So I wasn't sure which way this was gonna go. However, it went great. Now for the second to last step, she just kind of takes a Kleenex and dabs her entire face. I don't know why. I would not do this. I guess this is to sort of get rid of any excess, but I would just apply less if I wanted less makeup, you know? So I hope you can see that. The Kleenex did pick something up. So okay, I guess. And now she applies a pink lipstick and then a lip gloss over top. I'm gonna use like a lip balm moment. This is by YSL. See how I go high-low? Yeah. This, by the way, it took me a hot minute to purchase because it was everywhere on TikTok and I was like, oh, it's overrated. I love it. I love it. I'm sorry. So it's completely appropriately rated and I'm just dabbing that on. Okay, so I'm just gonna go fill in my brows a little bit, comb my hair, and then I'll be back here for final thoughts. Okay, and here I am. This is the final look. I just zhuzhed up my hair. I added a tiny bit more liner just because I really looked at it and I felt like I smudged most of it off, so what was the point? And another coat of mascara, but that's about it. Now let's talk. Overall, I actually really like this look. Did I like the application process? Not so much because, and I don't know if you'll be able to tell on camera, probably not, but somewhere around this area, I have weird little patches where the product clings to certain parts of my skin. Now that could be for multiple reasons. Maybe if my skin was dry there, but it certainly was not because we hydrated really well. Or maybe some of the products couldn't mix, for example, the tint and the concealer, the tint and the powder and the concealer. We tried quite a few new things today, so who's to say who's at fault here? It could also be the haphazard application because I don't feel like I'm in control when I apply foundation or skin tint. It doesn't matter with my fingers. I prefer to use a beauty blender or a brush, but never really my fingers. So maybe that's why, honestly, that would be my bet. But other than that, the skin tint looks pretty good. Feels pretty nice on the face. It says here that it is a light to medium coverage. I would say this is medium coverage. And it does have a natural finish. So overall, this was great. And it didn't oxidize on me, which is incredible. Now, the only thing is, when I applied it to my hand, it kind of looked darker than it ended up actually looking on my face. So I don't know maybe how you would pick a shade. I honestly just took a shot in the dark at my drugstore with this one, and honestly it paid off. Now the liner pencils, they were affordable and they were liner pencils, so that was perfect. This shimmery liner stick was also pretty good. I am gonna use that as well. This holographic highlighter, I'm gonna bathe in this as soon as I finish this video. I really like it actually. And I also like the powder. And another sleeper hit, the lip stain. I'm gonna have to actually do a wear test on this and see how long it lasts, and maybe I'll update you in a future video. But so far, honestly, I really like it. The color is so beautiful. It's like a My Lips but better type of vibe. So Essence really impressed me today. But yeah, with that being said, that's actually the end of today's video. If you liked it, please consider liking, subscribing, maybe even commenting, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.